Alright guys, today we're tackling a new project. Today we're going to get rid of this big behemoth of a thing. First thing I did, disconnect the line, drain the fuel, and we're going to put in this little guy. So there's a few tech tips and stuff I'll show you along the way about putting in a fuel cell, especially a plastic one. And so yeah, we'll go from there. So I already drained the fuel, so we're good there. Next thing we got to do is go up in here, undo the straps. Tank's drained, so it'll be fairly light and easy to pull out. I don't need a stand or nothing, so we'll do that. All right, so there we go. It didn't take long. Undo two straps, take the fuel tank out. Okay. That big thing, with today's gas prices, that thing would actually hold about $80 worth of fuel if I wanted it to. It's fairly heavy. Probably weighs 30 pounds. This weighs 5 pounds. Not even. Filled with foam. Fuel won't slosh around. That'll be nice. The next thing is we will get these straps out of here, and then we can lower the car down and see where we're going to place the fuel tank. For the straps, if you can see, just a small bolt right there holding them in. Come up and out, piece of cake. So, what's nice about this tank though, is when they were building it, they put a sump on it. So, and that's good because, especially for drag racing and stuff, is your fuel feed line now is at the very, very bottom of the tank. So whether you're accelerating, you're cornering, whatever, you're always got to supply fuel because you're always going to have some in here. It doesn't matter what the rest of the fuel is doing. So that's very nice. So I think what we're going to end up doing is repurposing this tank, and it'll probably go into the Camaro because it should fit right into my, what I call the Mistress, my street driver. That'll be handy for that because driving around I notice a lot of fuel slosh on the gauge going up and down and all over the freaking place, so when I'm driving or cornering or whatever. So, repurpose parts for the race car into the daily driver. Sounds like a plan to me. Alright, we'll get the straps out, lower it down. Alright, we're looking inside the trunk now, and got a little rust hole. Always nice to see. Not a big deal because, hey, if we put the... It's also in a nice flat spot right there. We could put the fuel cell there. Got these two big brackets here from when I had another second battery in here. Don't got that, don't need it. Got one battery, that's all we need. So we might as well cut those out. And that nice big flat spot. Perfect for a fuel cell. Looks good to me. Alright, so what we're going to need to do, because the fuel cell has a sump on it, we're going to have to cut that hole in the floor to go down underneath, and then we can start mounting the straps and all that kind of stuff. So first, I'm going to cut those out, then I will find out where to put this sump, because then I can position everything perfectly, give myself room to get to the lid, give myself a good spot to go through the floor, and yeah, we'll go from there. So give me a couple minutes, I'll cut them. Alright, we did some measuring, we did some cutting, ended up going right through that rust hole, so it'll be fine. I'll scuff it up, throw a little paint at it, and there we go. We got a hole in the floor that's going to fit our fuel cell, and see how she fits. Just like that, movie magic, it's in. Looks good until you look at the side. It's not sitting quite right. If we go underneath, we can see we got a little issue with the structural part back there that was holding the tank in. So we did a little bit of cutting underneath here to make room for the lines and stuff. But she goes in. A little clearance issue, it's easy to clean up. And then we'll get this thing strapped in. And so right here's the offending part sticking down. Pretty easy. Couple little zips. And we'll have that off and out of the way. And then we'll have lots of room for the fuel line in here. We'll put 90. And then we'll have to come out to here where our fuel line is and go from there. Might do a little juggling around with fuel line and stuff. Go back to here, move the pump and everything to a better location. Just makes sense, right? So yeah, we'll do a little playing around there with fuel line and stuff. And then we can keep it all inside the structure here. Make it a little more safe, a little safer until I cut all that out later for weight savings. So another little trick here, guys, that I'm going to show you. One thing you should always do, you got bare metal, prime it, paint it, throw a little something on it just so you don't start rusting away. And then what I'm going to do is take some vacuum line, put a slit down it, and run it along the steel edges. I'll show you what that looks like when I get to that point. A little silicone to hold it in place. And what it'll do is take all our sharp steel edges and keep them from chafing on the tank. We got rubber in between the metal and the tank. That tank will never get worn through from all the vibration of a race car. And we'll go from there. So yeah, I'm going to make a couple little cuts here, and we'll keep moving ahead with this. Alright, so here we go now. Remember what I was saying about the tubing? Went and got some, just small stuff. Made some cuts in it. And then what we're going to do is just smear a tiny little bead of silicone here. I got 4 pieces, and we're just going to outline this. That way, if there's any movement in the fuel cell at all, it's not going to get cut and chafed on the sharp steel. So that's what I meant. So this will go right over top like that. Except this is meant for this side. So we got 4 pieces. We're going to put it over top like that. Glue it down with a little bit of silicone. We'll be good to go. And then we'll continue. Alright, so we got all that stuff in place. Got the fuel cell set in place. And I got the straps set over top of it. So now that I know where everything's going. Now, we're going to drill the 4 holes. Just put my finger in the silicone. They're there. 2 on the back side. So then we got the 2 straps that go over top. And 2 that go underneath the fuel cell. Just to make sure it's got added protection. Not going to go anywhere. A little extra strength on the bottom side. So I got 4 little holes to drill. They supply you with bolts and everything for it, so that's pretty cool. And we will put that. Alright, we've got these, everything mounted. Looks pretty good in there. Okay, one thing you need to know, especially with a plastic tank, the plastic tank has to have a ground strap coming from one of these bolts to a good solid chassis ground. So I got an extra bolt over here that I'll use from when I had the battery in here. I use that as the chassis ground for the battery. So I will run a ground strap from here over to here. Last thing you need is a little bit of static when you're filling up, a spark, boom, that would suck. So that chassis ground will take care of that. Even on an aluminum or a metal tank, it's always strongly recommended because sometimes there's a gasket. So this isn't grounded to the fuel cell itself. So off of here, always put a ground strap. You do not need this thing blowing up in your face when you're putting fuel in it. Alright, so we'll do that. It'll take me a couple seconds, throw a ground strap on there, then we'll go underneath and start making fuel line and stuff like that. Alright, so I got everything in. Made myself a little AN line. If you look back through my videos, I have one there that shows you how to build your own AN lines and stuff. So I've made a little loop for now to go to where the pump still is. I can open the valve now because it's all sealed and working. Alright, so eventually what I'm going to do, I don't have time tonight, but take this pump and I'll move it back in under here now. And I'll just go off of that fitting up there, get rid of all this extra line, and it'll be a lot more compact and not hanging out where you can see it behind the bumper. So for now, this is the way it is. Pretty soon, I have line and fittings, and I might have to order 1 or 2 more fittings, and just put it all underneath here, nice hidden, tucked away, clean, neat looking. I'll do that when I have time again, like I said. So now, a little bit more stuff to do up top. All right, back up top here. Got a few more fittings I got to deal with, and they always send you with 2. Well, this one did anyways. 2 down there, 2 up here. I only need 1 and 1, so I got caps for the other ones. So I'm going to cap this one, and this one, or either one is good for a return line or something if you have that style of fuel system. I don't. I got one line going up front. It's kind of a deadhead system. And the other one, you always need some kind of a vent or a rollover valve or something like that. So what we're going to do is build ourselves kind of a rollover valve drag racing guys use. And I'll show you how that is done. It's basically you build yourself an AN fitting. You go up a couple of loops, 2-3 loops, and then down out of the trunk, vented outside the body of the car. So in the two or three loops, what that does is if the car ever rolls over, it makes it just about impossible for any fuel to get through those loops and outside the car. Keeps it all contained inside your fuel cell, and that's where you want to keep it. So we're going to do that. We need the vent to go outside, so we're going to do that. I have a cap for this one I'll put on. We'll build ourselves another line and go through the trunk floor with it. To do that, I bought a bulkhead fitting. So this one will sandwich, I drill a hole in the floor, sandwich between it, and then I got a fitting to go on the other side, and I'm going to put a little breather on it just to keep dirt and junk out of it. So there we go. I'll show you what everything looks like when it's done. Build another AN fitting here. I need 2 fittings on it. So more fun, more poking myself with the wires. It's always fun to do. Okay, show you what underneath here. We do a little more cutting, a little more painting. But we got the bulkhead fitting in there. If you can see, move my light. There we go. With the bulkhead fitting, I had to do a little washer spacing, and then add a barbed fitting and a little breather on there. So no more dust and no dust and dirt and anything going up into my fuel cell at all. We'll keep everything nice and clean and dry. And alright, and up top, there's our fitting coming through the floor. And a couple loops, and go to that. And I'll assemble that real quick. And presto changeo, couple loops, couple fittings installed. And that's my fuel cell installed, ready to run. Put some fuel in it. Open that bad boy up. There we go. Foam in there, fill her up, and we're ready to rock. Alright, that's enough for tonight. I'm going to put some gas in this so I can move it out in the morning. Thanks for watching.